Andrew Eifler, Vice President of Product Management for ATG, what we call our Advertiser Technology Group. And I'm thrilled to be here today to talk to you about some of the product investments we're making on the buy side of the business. And the theme today, as Brian mentioned, is optimize. And we're going to have leaders from across our organization talk about some of the optimization features a little bit later today. What I'm excited to talk to you about is a few features that we've been building that are really the result of some of the learning we've been doing about the market. We're deeply invested in learning about trends in the market and what's happening. And as a result of that learning, we've really put together a few product areas that I'd just love to share with you today. And the three areas specifically are on ad viewability, AppNexus Direct, which I'll explain what that is, and bid stream. So some of these things could be familiar, some of them might be brand new, but excited to talk to you about a few of these things today. So to start with, ad viewability, right? Now I was putting together this presentation, and ad viewability really wasn't an issue until about 2 years ago. And the reason is because the technology really wasn't good enough to measure ad viewability. But for about the last 18 months, with the advances of measurement technology, pretty much every advertiser or buyer today has access to viewability data, whether that's through our built-in viewability data through the acquisition of Valenti that we've built into our platform, or through a third-party viewability provider, or some other source of viewability data. Pretty much every advertiser now has access to know whether or not their ads were viewable. And what's been really interesting, the part we've been learning, is how advertisers have been responding to this viewability data. Right? I have a little mock-up here of how people might respond. But we work with lots of different advertisers, and a lot of them get sort of reports out of their third-party ad server that say something like this. You got 1,000 conversions, but only 20% of your ads were viewable. And what this does is it really confuses lots of buyers, saying like, hey, I know I got these conversions, but if 80% of my ads were never viewed, like how accurate is the attribution that's coming out of my third-party ad server? And I think for the first time, viewability data has really quantifiably shown that attribution in third-party ad servers is something that you should question or something that you should look at more closely. And the way that people have responded to this data and this situation is varied, right? Some folks have said, well, I know attribution's flawed, but as long as you get like an 80% viewability rate or 75% viewability rate, there's like a high watermark for viewability. As long as you hit this level, I'll just ignore it, everything will be okay. Some other advertisers have said, it has to be 100% viewable. I only want 100% viewable. I'm not paying for anything else. Others have, played with viewability definitions and other sort of deal-based viewability technology. But the results have been really varied. And we've really studied this response, made a huge investment in viewability. And at the end of the day, we really think the market is going three different directions. The first direction is for advertisers to rely on publishers for viewability, effectively pushing the onus to buy viewable ads to publishers, saying, hey, publisher, use whatever vendor you want or a specific vendor. You're responsible for providing me with viewable ads, and I will audit that, or you'll send me a report. But the onus is really on you. The second way is to rely on intermediaries. This is where sort of buy-side networks or agency trade desks become very, very useful, because what they can do is buy inventory from the exchange, which is unknown viewability, largely, and sell to advertisers based on a viewable basis, right? So filtering for viewability, and that's a very productive thing for intermediaries to do. We see a lot of this in the market today. And the third thing is to ignore viewability, right? This is sort of the ignorance is bliss approach, which still exists today. We still see people ignoring viewability as a metric and saying, hey, no, I trust my attribution. This is the scheme. Viewability, just sit over here and not worry about it. So from a product perspective, like understanding that this is the way we think the industry is heading, we've built a few products to help the industry embrace viewability more fully. To start, we've built viewable guaranteed selling for AppNexus Full Stack Publisher Suite. So the publishers that use the AppNexus platform can sell on a guaranteed viewable basis. So for advertisers that say, hey, publisher, it's your responsibility, we've built the ability for publishers on our platform to sell on a viewable basis. for those advertisers that are relying on intermediaries, we built two really innovative products here for intermediaries. The first is viewable CPM line items. So this is the ability for intermediaries to, in console, charge their advertiser on a viewable basis, but by unknown viewability and optimized towards viewable impressions, effectively arbitraging viewability, which has been sort of a very productive business model. And the third is viewable deals, right? So we have the first product that's fully integrated into our platform where you can do a deal based on viewability with a publisher. And that's the buyer and publisher both jointly agreeing on a specific viewability definition to exchange only viewable impressions. And of course, there's no need to ignore viewability if you use our product. But all these products are really powered by viewable prediction. So because we're measuring viewability on every single impression, we have viewability prediction, which is between 94 and 96% accurate, since we see such a large footprint of inventory. And that viewability prediction, that technology we've built, really has allowed us to build these viewable products. So this is sort of our approach based on the learnings that we've had in the market about viewability. These are the products that we're building for viewability to power the viewable marketplace. The next thing I want to talk to you about is AppNexus Direct. Who here has heard about AppNexus Direct before? Is this a new thing for some of you? All right, so actually about half of you, that's pretty good. So I want to give you some of the background around AppNexus Direct. This is really sort of the history of AppNexus in some ways. So AppNexus started as really like a marketplace for everyone to come together and do business, whether that be display DSPs, mobile DSPs, video SSPs, publishers, advertisers, right? We were really sort of an unbiased marketplace. Anyone can come, anyone can do anything you want. And what we found is that business model, as RTB became more popular, started transacting a lot of money, right? There's a lot of money coming into the RTB space. And with that money brought people that wanted to get that money without necessarily adding the requisite value, right? So here's my PowerPoint animation. We have bad actors that pop up in the marketplace. And it really made us change our approach to being a marketplace player. We could no longer say we are just the open marketplace for anyone to come and do business. We now had to change our approach and really take a more active stance towards inventory quality. What we did last year, a big move for us last year, many of you probably heard about, was we actually went through and started standing behind our inventory in terms of quality. And we reviewed every seller on our platform to make sure that they were selling the kind of inventory that we wanted represented in our platform. And this is sort of the inventory quality effort. We went through and removed the bad actors off our platform, both the inventory and also many clients we've actually asked to leave the platform because they weren't abiding by our policies or bringing invalid inventory on. So that was sort of the first step. The next step, which is what we're doing right now, is creating a curated marketplace. So we're going from inventory quality to a marketplace curation. And I think this is probably my best PowerPoint animation ever. I did this flight delay yesterday from Berlin. But what we've done is we actually created this new pool of inventory we're calling AppNexus Direct. And what we've done is in this curated pool is taken display publishers, mobile app publishers, and certified that these are direct connections to publisher inventory. So one of the problems we observed in the marketplace, even after IQ, was that the same impression was being bought and sold multiple times between the advertiser and the publisher, and that was creating inefficiencies. So by certifying direct connections between advertisers and publishers and a pool of inventory that is direct publisher connections, we found that it's actually better for buyers and sellers. For buyers, it means that more of their money is actually buying media. For sellers, it means they're keeping more of every dollar that's spent on the platform. And by starting to create an ecosystem whereby direct connections are preferred, I think will ultimately benefit all players on the platform. The third thing I want to talk to you about is Bidstream. Bidstream is sort of a new experimental product we're playing with today. Like Brian mentioned up front, some of these products are things that we're just developing now. And we're working on the very early stages of this product. And what it is effectively giving access to data that's on our platform today. And that data, previously, you could only get access to if you built a bidder, right? So a lot of people built bidders simply to see all of the ad calls or the bid requests that were sent by SSPs, right? And with having access to that full stream of bid requests, what they could do is advanced analytics or research on how the dynamics of supply ebbed and flowed from one day to another, different volumes of inventory and how that varied day to day or by season, and could really inform their bidding more closely. Quite honestly, we looked through the bidders that were integrated into our platform, and some of them weren't spending any money. And we effectively detected that they were, building a bidder to listen to traffic. And we said, hey, it's hugely expensive to build a bidder, especially a bidder that has any scale. Effectively, you have to pay more the more volume you listen to. The cost get up to $1 million, $2 million a year for the data centers, the engineers to maintain the integrations, right? Supply partners are always changing their integrations. And just to do it for the sake of having access to data is not really an efficient way of operating. So what we said is, hey, maybe there's a different way we could give buyers access to this data without having them go through this process of building their own bidders. And that's where we came up with BidStream. It's effectively a log that we could provide of all of the ad calls for buyers to look at and do very advanced analytics and prediction on. And I think this product will probably work well in tandem with some of the other products we're going to talk about later today, like AppNexus Programmable Bidder, and some of the more programmable features, because alongside doing the analytics, you can actually upload those insights in the form of algorithms into our platform. And together, I think a lot of these products are going to come together and allow marketers to do things, advertisers, agencies that were never possible before. So that's the summary of things we're working on the buy side, just a few of our investments. You're going to hear about much more later today. In whole, what we've done is really learn from the market and taking those learnings, many from the community people that are sitting here, we've built some of these products, and that's the buy side of our platform. So now I'd like to introduce Arel Lidow, who leads product for the sell side of our platform, to talk about some of our sell side investments. Arel?
Well, good to be here today, and thank you, Andrew, for the excellent updates on the buy side of our products. I'm going to talk about some of the amazing things that we're doing on the sell side of our business. But first, I wanted to take a quick look at what we've achieved over the last 6 months, because I think the last 6 months have really been defining for the sell side, the publisher technology group at AppNexus. About 6 months ago, we announced the launch of the AppNexus Publisher Suite. And this is a set of 4 products: an ad server, an SSP, an audience extension product, and analytics powered by YieldX forecasting engine, all built into one single set of products. This is really a massive undertaking for us. We've been working on this for about 2 years. We spent about 250 million euros, $250 million, acquiring and building the different pieces of this stack. So this is a massive, massive undertaking. I'm excited to say that we've seen great traction and early success for the suite in market. But we haven't stopped there. In the last 6 months, we've developed more new features for the sell side of our platform than I've ever seen in my professional career, and over 50 new major feature releases. These are features like viewable guarantees, viewable deals, full HTML5 creative support. Lots of development is happening on the platform. I think it's worth highlighting because this is the Optimize event. It's a little bit more technical and in the weeds. So I want to say a quick word about how we release software, which I think is fundamentally different than many of the other companies in our space. So I sat down with one of our engineering leads and actually looked at all the different releases that went out of our ad stream platform. And I was shocked to see 344 releases. That's an amazing number of releases. These are a lot of small things. They're stability updates. They're major feature releases. But I think that the benefit of this, of the way that we incrementally and rapidly release software, is it not only means more feature development velocity, but also means we're able to react much faster to issues, to bugs, as they come up. And the velocity, if you chart this over time, is increasing. It's one of the things that I'm most proud of, is just the way that we've been able to manage product development velocity over the last 6 months. So going forward, so we talked about the last 6 months. Let's talk about the next 6 months. So on the sell side of our platform, we're focused on 4 key investment areas. So if we spent $250 million over the last 2 years, we're going to spend a similar amount of money over the next 2 years. And a lot of that's going to go into these 4 buckets. So first, is monetization. We will always be focused on making publishers and sellers more money. We're going to talk a little bit more detail about what specifically we're doing here in a second. Second is video. So over the last 6 months, we've been overhauling our entire platform and building in new video capabilities, which Eric here has been leading, and we'll demo some of the cool features in a minute. Mobile and native, we continue to incrementally improve our platform. And we also released a really cool new feature that I'll talk about in a minute for mobile. And then lastly, identity. So being able to identify a user regardless of the device that they're using. So if I'm using my phone, my laptop, or my tablet, see me as one single user in a privacy-safe way. So let me say a few words about what this means for you. So first, on monetization, doing 3 things. So first is that we spent the last year deeply embedding the YieldX forecasting technology into our system to build really smart algorithms to allocate inventory across all the publisher sales channels. So whether you have guaranteed direct connections, private marketplaces, or open exchange, we can make really smart decisions about how we allocate impressions across those different sales channels. In the sell-side breakout session, we'll talk about the specific results that we're seeing, which are pretty amazing. Second, we fundamentally believe in openness, and part of that means providing access to as many different demand channels as possible. Now, in the last year, header bidding has seen a phenomenal rise, a lot of traction in the market, especially in the US, starting to get some traction in Europe. We're building header bidding deeply into our ad serving and SSP stack. We're treating it as a first order member of our platform. And this has great benefits, we think, for sellers. It means that there's less operational overhead, and we're able to optimize and forecast on header bidding demand much better than other solutions. And third, and this is the one I'm possibly most excited about, is that we're finding ways to enable new types of transactions between buyers and sellers. This is things like viewable guarantees or viewable deals, things that create net new value. It's a case where 1 + 1 really does equal 3. We have lots of great ideas in store there. On the video side, I'm going to keep this short because you're going to see some demos by Eric in 1 second. But suffice to say, for the first half of this year, we are focused on releasing a video SSP offering. In the second half of this year, we're focused on really embedding video capabilities deeply into our ad serving offering to create a best-in-class video ad server. Now, on mobile, not only are we incrementally improving our platform, so we already have a number of mobile capabilities in the platform, but we recently announced the launch of AppNexus Mobile Price Check. Now, for those of you who haven't heard about this, this is essentially header bidding for mobile apps. It's a snippet of code, not a full SDK. It's a snippet of code that you can put in your app. That snippet of code will call our servers to get back a price for any impression, and we'll offer to pay that price for that impression. And we think that this is actually game-changing for mobile apps because it's an alternative to old-school waterfall-based mediation, which is just terrible for publishers and terrible for user experience. We're really excited by some of the early results that we're seeing there. And of course, towards the back half of this year, we're building out support for new mobile formats like incentivized video, especially for gaming developers. All right, now lastly, I said that we're focused on identity. So being able to identify the user regardless of the device that they're using. We think this is going to become increasingly important over the coming years. To do this, we're doing 3 things. First, we're allowing publishers to use their own first-party login data. So if you're a publisher and users are logging in, you can now use that data to target users across different devices. So we just announced the launch of our first-party user ID support. Second, we're experimenting with some models of cooperation across publishers. So publishers have login data they can share with one another to create something that's greater than the sum of its parts. We're experimenting. We launched some tests in the Australian market as a first early test bed. We've seen fairly good results. We'd love to speak with you if this is something that you're interested in. And last but not least, we acquired a company called MediaGlue about a year ago, which specializes in building statistical models to map users across different devices. We've been integrating that technology into the AppNexus platform, been running tests, and I think we plan to speak more about that towards the end of this year. And of course, all of this we need to do in a privacy-safe way. So that's something that we are deeply focused on. Now, before I hand over to Eric in 1 minute, I want to talk about ad blocking, because I know that this is something that is a hot topic in Europe, something that's on top of your minds, and something that we are thinking a lot about. And we debated a lot whether we wanted to speak in detail about our thoughts on ad blocking and potential solutions to ad blocking. We decided it was a little bit premature, but suffice to say that we are working on a number of different approaches, and we have a lot of thoughts on this. If you are interested in participating, we would love to get your feedback. If you participate in the sell-side feedback session, I would love to personally speak with anyone who's interested in potentially partnering to test out some solutions to ad blocking. With that, I'd like to hand over to the man who I think actually invented digital video, Eric Hoffert. He actually did make the Apple QuickTime codec, which I think was the first codec for digital video. So Eric is going to talk about some of the amazing things that we're doing on the video side and actually do some really neat demos as well.
Thank you, Arel and Andrew. Really impressive to see everything that ATG and PTG is developing. Before I jump into the video update, I wanted to start with a quick story, which is, first of all, I recently celebrated my 1-year anniversary at AppNexus, which I was thrilled about. And actually, it brought back memories to be here for me from last year, as I started in May of 2015. And 2 weeks after I started at AppNexus, I was in a meeting with Brian about Summit. And Brian said, hey, Summit's coming up in a few weeks. How about if we announce video for AppNexus? I was like, whoa. Now, there had been a product under development for about 6 or 9 months. And I thought, this is interesting. And then I showed him a personal hack project that I had built of a video search engine. For those of you who were here last year, raise your hand. Let me know if you saw it. All right, great. It was a blast to build that. And I showed it to Brian. And Brian's like, let's demo this on stage. So in my first 2 weeks, I was like, what kind of company is AppNexus? And I was pretty blown away. But to be honest with you, what are the 2 takeaways I had from that experience? One was, we're going to move fast with video. And the other was, this is a company that really respects and supports innovation. And by that I meant that I could take this personal hack project, this video search engine, and show it to all of you, on short notice, so to speak. And since I've started at the company, I would say every minute, every hour, every day that I've been here, I've seen that play out over and over again, speed and innovation. So just wanted to tell you that quick story and say it's great to be here and to talk to you guys about video 1 year later, and really proud of the video team in terms of how much has been accomplished in a brief period of time. In terms of what I'd like to cover, because so much has happened with video in the last year since Summit in London, 2015, I thought it would be useful to actually talk about the foundation of the video product, what we're building both on the buy side and the sell side. But in doing so, it'll be both a look in terms of what we've created, what we have now, and also some looks at where we're headed next. And also touch on what programmable video could mean. You'll be hearing about programmable here at the conference quite a bit, programmable bidder and other topics. So I think it'd be interesting to touch on that for video. As Arel said, we have some demos, including one that's never been shown outside of AppNexus. It's hot off the presses. It wouldn't be a summit without that. And then we'll give you just a brief look at what we're planning to cover in the video breakout later this afternoon. So let's talk first about the video buy side. As Arel said, we rolled out the video SSP. Only in March of this year we announced it. And we now have an integrated buy-side, sell-side platform for video at AppNexus. In terms of what we were working on first, as I mentioned, it was the buy side. And these are 4 pillars of the AppNexus buy-side video product. It starts with Open RTP and standards-based supply. We're building out Open RTP 2.3, and we support desktop web, mobile web, and mobile app video. We'll talk a little bit later about who we've integrated with and the inventory that's available to you. Then secondly, when Brian put me on stage here last year, we showed a UI, which is still very much in place, that allows you to do targeting based on 3 fundamental elements, which is video player size, playback initiation method, and linear stream position. But what you may not know, because it's relatively new news, is just within the last 30 days, we've rolled out video completion rate targeting. And this is something I think you'll hear about more today at Optimize. This is really about how do you hit the KPIs for your campaigns, and how can AppNexus build this fundamentally into the platform overall, and for video specifically. We just heard from a client that called this feature a game changer for their business. On the metrics front, we started out with video event reporting for AppNexus and Console. We recently rolled out a new report on the sell side, which came from PTG feedback largely, which is called the Seller Video Fill and Delivery Report, that shows what happens from an ad request straight through to the delivery of an impression, and what happens each step of the process. And then many of you may not know this, but last Thursday, again a new development, we just launched video viewability for free across the entire AppNexus platform. This is a major development, again, to put power in your hands with key information that you can use to run your video business from a competitive advantage standpoint as well, making it free across the platform as a piece of data you can use in many different ways, in addition to measurement and reporting. And we're going into open beta on that a week from yesterday. For those of you who are interested, we've been in closed beta test with about a dozen clients and gotten a lot of feedback. This is developed by the Alenti team and Campere, who continue to do a great job on building out our viewability platform. And then log level data is also available for video. On the creative hosting front, earlier this year, we rolled out the ability for drag and drop file upload. 100 megabyte files for Video Plus. We transcode into 12 different renditions across 3 different video formats, MP4, WebM, and Flash. And this is done with blazingly fast transcoding. In 15 minutes, your video content is available. It has to go through audit, of course, but it can then be served essentially through video ad serving infrastructure on CDN. And we have 2 different CDNs that we integrate with to deliver video to end users and your consumers for the campaigns. For video viewability, this is just a quick snapshot into how it works. How many of you know what VPAID is? Okay, pretty good. It's basically a definition from the IAB that was initially designed to support interactive video. It's been used in a variety of other ways. In the industry, we are doing that as well, and in this case, it's to measure video viewability. It provides the capability for us to drop JavaScript on the page, which does the measurement, viewability.js, and it also can be used for IQ capabilities to be able to detect domains and determine if they're the same as they were declared, another important feature for the video initiative on the IQ front, along with viewability measurement and reporting. I talked about supply and Open RTP 2.3 being the way that we're doing that for video. Over the course of the last year, and in fact over the course of the last 48 hours, we've been integrating with a lot of video supply partners, a lot of the major ones that you've heard of. Keep in mind this is all in addition to our own AppNexus Video SSP, which I'll talk about shortly, and that's direct publisher inventory coming on straight through AppNexus. That you can, as a publisher, include in the pool of inventory available to our buyers. We just announced yesterday in Paris, together with Dailymotion, that we are now fully integrated with what's called the DMX Exchange, which was very exciting. Well, actually, that process started at last year's summit and came to fruition yesterday, which was terrific. And today we announced another partner. In addition to Teads and Sticky Ads and our own Outstream video ad unit, we've also announced a partnership with Unruly, which is a division of News Corp that also has Outstream video inventory, expanding what's available to you and your buyers in terms of inventory. Just a brief word on what this means for workflow. You can think about the video buying workflow as having 4 phases. Video inventory discovery, basically being able to review avails, domains, and packages to find the right inventory for your campaign. For buying, we support both private marketplace and we support open exchange. An increasing amount of video is being bought in private marketplaces, so this is really important, as is making that easy and fast to use. There's a measurement step and the metrics that go along with it. We talked about how video viewability measurement will now soon be available to you to include in the metrics that you use. And then there's optimization. And historically, a lot of the optimization for video has been conducted in a manual way, where you're essentially looking at the results from your campaign in reporting. making changes, iterating on that, improving to get closer to your KPIs. And I think you'll see AppNexus in general as a company moving towards providing you with more powerful tools and capabilities in that area. Okay, let's talk about the AppNexus Video SSP that complements the buy side. So to start with, we built the Video SSP from the ground up for AppNexus, given that we've come to market just in the last year to support different formats. A lot of the existing video SSPs were born in the age where we only had in-stream, but outstream has really emerged as a major new format in the industry in really just the last year or two. So this is an architecture that from the ground up has been built to support both in-stream and outstream video monetization. And that means that as a video first publisher with a video player and video content, you can use this. If you're a text publisher and you have lots of text content, but no video player and no video content, you can use us. So we're really trying to build a universal video platform that can appeal to these two key constituencies. The second piece here is different video monetization models. One size does not fit all. So for video, we support, of course, RTB, Open RTB 2.3 today, Open RTB 2.4 soon. AppNexus, by the way, contributed with some of our partners to the evolution of Open RTB 2.4, where we added video skippability, which is not today in the Open RTB standard, which is really important to advertisers and publishers. And we also added support for audio into Open RTB 2.4. So watch this space as Open RTB 2.4 starts to come to market. On the video mediation side, we've been really focused on low latency and how we can improve the speed of video playback for video advertising. Huge numbers of people have come to us and talked about how this is a major problem for their businesses and for user engagement. So making video as fast and fluid as possible has been a key focus with our mediation offering, which uses a unique approach, HTML5 storage caching of the vast XML that comes out of the video demand sourcing process. And then third is deals, which I talked about earlier, and video ad serving is a fundamental component of the AppNexus video offering, as you heard about from Arel. And the creative video hosting, transcoding, video ad serving, multi-CDN approach that I described earlier is a key piece of this. So taking a little bit of a look forward, what does this mean in terms of programmable? So many of you may not be aware of this, especially since video is such a new initiative. You've probably heard about our log level data feed, but we support full video enrichment and video metadata in the log level data feed, and we've had quite a few clients making use of this to build their own analytics, their own dashboards, their own optimization. Andrew recently announced that AppNexus is rolling out streaming data support. So instead of hourly access to your data you get with video log level data, with streaming data you can be more at the scale of minutes or faster, right? Now both the log level standard feed and the streaming data feed support video impressions as an impression type. Currently, that's what's available in streaming data, but there's a goal to include the enriched video metadata in the streaming data feed, which is compatible, by the way, with both Amazon Kinesis and Apache Kafka. So watch this space as we evolve to being able to offer you both batch type log level data as well as streaming data. And for me as a video guy, this is a little mind-blowing because I think of streaming video, and this is now streaming data for streaming video. So a lot of streaming going on. But I love it. Then there's the programmable bidder. You're going to hear a lot about the programmable bidder. This is a really core part of AppNexus and our push on programmable. What's exciting here is the potential of the programmable bidder in conjunction with video. And Catherine Williams, our chief data scientist, and I were in a cab yesterday having a lot of fun talking about where this might go next. But regardless of that, in terms of what we have for you right now, this past Tuesday, I mentioned before video completion rate targeting has been added. Video completion rate is now available in the programmable bidder for video applications. And this is also something we're really excited about. For video data, there are partners of ours building on the DMP architecture of AppNexus that are also building interesting video components. And a brief highlight of this is we have a partner who's using LDA, unsupervised machine learning, to essentially learn the topics on web pages and find only those web pages that have video on them. And when an advertiser comes with a video campaign, to look at the keywords in the campaign, to then match them to the topics in their database. And that essentially provides a high degree of contextual matching for video content. They used it with a TV broadcaster, and in the process of doing so, they got video completion rates that were off the charts, 90% plus, and video viewability rates that were approaching 80%. And we keep hearing from buyers more and more about their need to hit these kind of KPIs. So we think this is a really interesting opportunity in general, first-party data as publishers in particular, and other data integrations for working with video. And I think you'll be hearing quite a bit about machine learning and things that AppNexus is doing in that area as it relates to programmable bidder at Optimize today. And then finally, many of you know Console, which is a UI, but I want to make sure that you're aware from a programmable standpoint and a development standpoint that that same experience you see in Console is available to you through the API, and would encourage you to dig into our APIs for video. That includes, of course, video APIs on the buy side, but also with our sell-side video initiative, we're working to make everything as programmable and configurable as we can. For example, our outstream video ad unit, it's now up to 25 configurable attributes that allow you to control the behavior for consumers and from a publisher standpoint. And all of those are things that you can then build your own custom video ad units on top of ours. We have a publisher who's done that and created 3 different ad units on top of our outstream functionality as a base capability. So we'd encourage you to look into that as well. Just a few key words, obviously a lot of technology, but it's worth noting that in terms of things we've heard from our clients, we have clients who are growing new video businesses from scratch that have just had display businesses and have grown that revenue to be 20% of their revenue in a year. We have clients who are saying that AppNexus is providing higher completion rates and lower cost compared to the competition that they're benchmarking us against. And because we have this rich platform in general as a company, but also specifically for video, we have clients that are saving $1 million in operating expense for things they had to build themselves or build with competing solutions where it wasn't as easy to extend as it is with AppNexus. As I said, it wouldn't be a video session without a demo. And it wouldn't be a video session without the risk for the demo. Okay, so you heard quite a bit about completion rates and about viewability. And these are 2 of the key KPIs we hear about a lot for video. There's a lot of debate and discussion between in-stream and out-stream. One of them tends to have higher completion rate. One of them has higher viewability. We hear from clients, can't you give us both? So we said, okay, what could we possibly do to drive up video viewability and video completion rates and try and make that happen in one format? So a number of you may have seen our outstream video ad capability before. You may have also seen this video.
Let's observe the effect of Evian on your body.
As many of you know, I love rollerblading babies. And I love rollerblading baby soundtracks too. Okay, so that might look familiar to you, or not. But now, as you scroll off the screen, typically one of 2 things happens with an outstream video ad unit. In some cases, the video will continue to keep playing, depending on how it's configured, or the video will pause. You typically hear 50% stated. With AppNexus, you can make it any percentage you want to configure it, or you can make it continue to play. It's up to you as a configuration control with AppNexus video. Whoa! What was that? So in this case, let's say that you guys have done an amazing job with machine learning and created video advertising that's incredibly relevant for your users. And they want to see the ad. Well, then this approach could work really well. We call it side stream. And the basic idea is that when you scroll away, the video ad pops back into place. What's the implication of this? The implication of it is higher viewability and higher completion rates. Again, if the user is engaged with the ad. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. The next demo that I wanted to show you is related to latency. and making things fast. In this particular example, we're going to take a look at a use case of commercial breaks on TV. If we're going to be successful with video on the open internet, one of the things we definitely have to master is how can we bring TV experiences to the open web. As many of you know today, sometimes video advertising is more clunky than it should be. It takes too long. The latency is too high. The user experience isn't there. And so we developed this method I mentioned earlier for video ad caching, which basically runs the demand sourcing process if you have multiple video demand partners in advance of the user hitting the play button. And that means that while we were talking, all three of these different video players had their demand sourced before I hit play, which means they all started instantly instead of waiting 4 to 5 seconds. And we stored that vast XML for each of these video players in HTML5 storage. It also means that for any one of these players, if I now skip, you'll notice the skip is instantaneous. And why is it instantaneous? Because we source the demand for the next video, which you could think of as a mid-roll, or the first video that appears in a commercial break, when we started on the pre-roll. And the same process applies ad infinitum. So basically, every time I'm clicking through or skipping the video ad, or another ad is playing naturally in sequence, it's pulling something that has already been completed in terms of the video mediation process. And these are the kinds of high-speed, low-latency experiences that we think are critical for AppNexus, for the industry, and we look forward to working with you to improve the video user experience overall in the industry. So that's it for the demos. Hope that was fun. Thank you very much. So now just to wrap up, we have a video breakout session this afternoon. I believe it's from 4 to 5. And this is actually quite interesting, and it's really unique for Optimize and the Optimize audience. What we're going to do is allow you to influence our product roadmap strongly. Since I'm a geek, I didn't just take computer science, I actually also have a degree in mechanical engineering. I took physics. So I refer to these as product vectors with magnitude and direction. And you can influence the magnitude, which is the importance, and the direction, which is where we're going to go with these features and capabilities. We're going to cover both the buy side and the sell side, have product leaders addressing both of these topic areas with you. So we hope you can come tell us your favorite features or your biggest problems and challenges and influence what we've got coming up. And then secondarily, there will be, of course, more demos. We can't have a summit session without demos, a video. And then thirdly, on the programmable video, we'll just talk a bit more about what this could mean for you and your business in terms of taking that one step forward. So I just want to thank you all a great deal for learning about video. We're really psyched about what's happened and what's coming next. And I'm looking forward to the rest of Optimize as well. So thanks very much.